Hey, I'm Gavin, and I explored the idea of the four immortal enemies after reviewing Castaneda. Castaneda says that the first natural enemy is fear, and when we defeat fear, when we learn to defeat fear or conquer fear, we have clarity, which is the second natural enemy, clarity. And once we learn to defeat and conquer clarity, we come up against the third natural enemy, which is power. So when you conquer fear, you get clarity, which is the second natural enemy. When you conquer clarity, you get power, which is the third natural enemy. And if you live long enough, you get to wrestle with the fourth natural enemy, which is old age. The first natural enemy, fear, is conquered with clarity. What that means for me is that fear actually becomes hidden. I like to imagine that if you've ever seen Inside Out, there's a control panel within a person, and you have these spirits that can be at the control panel and at the steering wheel. And I can imagine that fear is one that's at the steering wheel, but when clarity comes around and grabs the steering wheel, fear goes into the background. So the experience, the phenomenology perhaps, of a person where clarity is grasping the wheel is that they do not experience fear. Fear is no longer at the helm, at the wheel. And interesting enough to me is that people who have fear at the helm will be attracted towards people who have clarity at the helm. And in a democracy, the people who have clarity at the helm will be lifted up into positions of power, and then the enemy named power will come into play and grab the wheel, which is very dangerous. Ideally, there would be an arena where we could learn as individuals to wrestle with these enemies, fear, clarity, power, and old age, such that the Holy Spirit, the Holy One, and I'm a Christian, so I like the idea of trying to give Jesus the wheel. So when I make mistakes in life, which I do, I recognize they are a mistake because I can imagine, well, what would Jesus have done in that situation? And by comparison, I can say, oh, that wasn't very good. Turns out, usually, one of those four immortal enemies is over there controlling the wheel instead of the Holy One, the Christ, controlling the wheel. And so, yeah, I would just end it just practically. It's like with the question, is like, what can we do to practice wrestling with these enemies and getting better at wrestling with these enemies, and as a group of people, recognizing people who are good at wrestling with these enemies so that we can properly lift them up and try to offer our help to them, those people who are good at, for example, allowing Christ to remain at the wheel. It's a hard problem we have not solved, but man, if we could solve that problem, life would be so much better. Y'all have a good one.